You are listening to Passport Talks, a podcast on how to become a true cosmopolitan, how to travel the world without visas, create a safe haven for your family, and access top-notch education and healthcare with a second passport or residency.
Traveling within the EU and Schengen area with a second passport or residence permit. The European Union is not the same as the Schengen area. Some countries in the EU are not a part of the Schengen area, and vice versa. These differences can restrict visa-free travel for second passport holders, so you need to take them into account when selecting the European country where you want to live. Let's find out which passports allow you to travel visa-free in the Schengen area, and which ones can help you move to the European Union. Concepts and composition of the EU and Schengen zone. The concepts of the European Union and the Schengen area differ from each other, but many countries are included in both entities. The EU is a political and economic union, while the Schengen area permits the freedom of movement among the participating countries. The European Union includes 27 countries. They have a common market and foreign policy. The European Union government can influence the internal affairs of the member states. For example, by developing a common policy in the field of agriculture or regional development. The Schengen area is a visa-free space that consists of 26 states. There is no border control when you travel from one Schengen country to another. However, a citizen of a country outside the Schengen zone needs to have a valid visa to enter the area. Some European countries are part of both entities. Others belong to only one of them. Importance of distinguishing between the EU and the Schengen zone. The rights of a country's residents and citizens depends on which entity their state belongs to. There are 22 countries that are part of both the European Union and the Schengen area. A residence permit issued by one of these countries allows the holder to spend 90 out of 180 days in any Schengen or EU country. Some states are members of the European Union but are not included in the Schengen zone. A residence permit issued by such a state allows the holder to travel without a visa only to those EU countries that are also not a part of the Schengen zone. For example, a Bulgarian residence permit holder can travel to Cyprus, Croatia, or Romania without a visa. But to travel to France, Germany, Austria, or other EU countries, they will need a visa. If you have a residence permit issued by a country that is part of the Schengen area but not the EU, you can visit visa-free only those Schengen countries that are also not part of the European Union. A residence permit issued by any country allows the holder to enter this country without a visa for as long as the resident permit is valid. Residence permits issued by Austria, Portugal, Greece, Switzerland, or Spain allow their holders to travel both to the European Union and the Schengen countries without a visa. A Maltese residence permit and permanent residence in Malta gives the same opportunity. Residents of Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, and Cyprus can't visit the Schengen area without a visa. Residence permits in these countries are more often obtained for migration and not the sake of freedom of travel. EU citizens can move to other EU countries, as well as to Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Iceland, and Norway. They can also travel without a visa to the Schengen area. This rule applies to all EU citizens, including countries belonging only to the European Union, but not the Schengen zone. What are the exceptions to be considered? Britain and Ireland joined the European Union in 1973, but they wanted to keep their own immigration policy, so they did not join the Schengen Agreement. Residence permits issued by the EU and Schengen countries don't allow their holders to travel without a visa to the UK or Ireland. Similarly, for example, residents of Ireland can visit Bulgaria and Cyprus without a visa, but not Austria or Germany. Previously, EU citizens could visit the UK and Ireland without a visa and stay there for an unlimited period. After Brexit, they can only do so in Ireland. In 2020, the UK withdrew from the European Union. From January 1, 2021, citizens of the EU can visit the United Kingdom without a visa as tourists for up to 6 months. but they need a visa to work, study, or get married in the UK. Which countries in Europe are not part of the European Union or the Schengen area? There are countries in Europe that are not part of either the European Union or the Schengen area. For example, Serbia, Montenegro, Albania, and North Macedonia. Citizens of these countries can travel without a visa within the Schengen area. However, residents can't. For example, a residence permit issued by Montenegro, in contrast to Montenegrin citizenship, requires the holder to get a visa to enter the EU or the Schengen zone. Why get EU citizenship? An EU passport holder can choose to live in any EU country. Getting second citizenship helps to open up new business opportunities and makes it possible to travel to many countries without visas. It also allows you to educate your children in prestigious international schools and universities, and gives you a refuge in case of upheaval in your country of origin. To obtain citizenship in one of the EU countries, you need to live there as a resident for at least 5 years. During this time, you can't leave the country for more than 6 months a year, or 10 months in total. Malta offers easier terms to those seeking citizenship. Maltese citizenship can be obtained by naturalization for exceptional services by direct investment. On this route, applicants spend 1 or 3 years as residents before getting a passport. The minimum investment is €690,000. To move with a Malta passport to another EU country, the holder needs to register with the local authorities within 3 months after arrival. At the same time, they need to show that they have medical insurance, a place of residence, and an income sufficient to live on. Usually, they need to submit all the documents to the police or the migration service.
That's it for today. This has been Passport Talks, a podcast on how to become a true cosmopolitan. The link to the text version is in the description. To learn more about second citizenship and investment programs, visit our website, immigrantinvest.com. Follow Passport Talks and stay tuned for new episodes on all available platforms. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.